Joining me now from Knoxville, Tennessee, former FBI Supervisory Special Agent Jason Pack. Jason, good to have you with us this morning. You know, picking up a little bit where Danny left off there, what we heard from officials last night, too, is that he knew what he was doing, that this was that this suspect was, quote, sophisticated at hiding his tracks. As Danny noted out, there is a lot to now investigate in that storage space. And part of the questions, which include the motive, right, are the potential connections to this MIT professor. We know that they apparently were in the same academic program in Portugal in 1995 through 2000, but otherwise making that connection will be key. How do you anticipate, how will they begin to do that?
Good morning, Erica. Thanks for having me back. I think one of the ways they're going to do that, the FBI has a legal attaché office over in Madrid, which covers Portugal. So they'll start maybe by working with the Portuguese authorities to go back even to 1995 to begin to trace any of those overlaps, if there's any sort of record at all, and then move over to the United States. Now that we know the who, that important question of the why, as you said, is super important. So they're going to start interviewing witnesses. They're going to start interviewing associates of the suspect, doing search warrants at residences associated with him. The FBI Miami field office most likely is already at a residence or a place where he was last known down there. So you'll see activity in various locations throughout the days and weeks ahead to try to figure out the why.
It is notable that we heard from authorities. They do believe, of course, the MIT professor was targeted. They don't believe, though, the students at Brown were a target. And while it's likely that the suspect did take classes in that building, the president of Brown said they don't hold records back that far to know which classes were in the building at that point. That being said, the fact that he was in that building, it was people who noticed him. It was this call for the public to, if you saw something, say something, that really helped crack this open. How often is that the way that these cases, in your experience, do get solved?
The tips from the public, Erica, are just crucial. In the high-profile investigations I have worked, it's always been a tip from the public and some good digital forensic evidence, as well as just going and knocking on doors and talking to people, the low-tech ways that really come together to solve these people. The greatest weapon that law enforcement has is the cooperation of the public, and that has been evident in this case too. From that witness that came forward just 24 hours ago, there was not any, it looked like there was really nothing publicly that was in forwarding the investigation. So they go from that to identifying the suspect, and then that key piece of information seemed to be that tip of the license plate, which really led to probably looks like a credit card information, and the person used his real name for the credit card for the rental car, and that led them to a storage facility. Can you imagine being in the command post and getting that piece of information after all the pressure and all the things going on, and like, wow, we have a really hot lead here, and it turns out that's where he was.
And to your point, too, right, being led to that facility because we had heard how he had really covered his tracks, right, using an untraceable phone, in other instances not using credit cards in his name. So clearly some advanced planning here. That, too, will be part of this investigative process to understand how far back this planning went.
That's right. We're going to look at what's called the pathway to violence. So you don't just wake up and decide to go do this. The investigators are going to be looking at what was that actual grievance? Was it a personal relationship with this professor? Was there some sort of unknown grievance that occurred between the two of them? Were the people at Brown really involved, or was it just against the institution? And so when you turn your attention from an institution, which is a little more generic, to a specific person, that makes it more personal. So investigators are kind of likely start in that direction.
The administration announcing, Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem announcing that they're pausing the diversity visa lottery program, which is how the suspect came into the country in 2017. He was here legally. The fact that the administration is focusing on immigration status, in your experience, has that been a significant factor in shootings like what we see here, or even in gun violence in this country?
Well, I think anytime you get a lead about how somebody got into the country, it's a good idea to go back and make sure, it's not a wider spread problem. So that we have done that in the past, but I don't think that had maybe anything to do with it this time. But it's certainly a good idea to know who's in your country and if there are other people with similar ideologies. It seems in this case, though, that it seems more targeted toward the professor and some other grievances that they're hopefully going to find out later on through this investigation. The work is just starting. Even though the immediate danger has passed, Erica, there's a lot of work to do.
There certainly is. Obviously, people want, they deserve answers if they can get them. How difficult is it to track down, or to pinpoint, I should say, a motive if the suspect is dead?
It's difficult unless he left something somewhere for investigators to find. There's no way to interview them. You'll just have to piece it together through social media, through interviews. It's a very difficult process. And in my experience, it's not a one size fits all. There's not one particular reason. It's usually a mixture of several different things, and each types of these cases have their own set of facts, and the reasons are different for every one of them. So putting different reasons together to come up with the best possible picture is the task that lies ahead today for investigators and in the weeks ahead.
Yeah, as you noted, the work just beginning. Jason, always appreciate your insight. Thank you.
Thanks, Erica.